Does not look like we have any visitors. No public participation, agenda review. We will add to the consent agenda a resignation.
And I'm gonna just add, just that we have a couple, we do have guests, but they may not be guests for long. We'll see, as the board will take some action later. But Robin Cicadas of the Bethel School Board is here to attend. And Deanna Ronell from McKinsey is here online, so.
Oh, thank you.
just wanted to welcome them into the space.
Yeah.
And there is an item on the agenda later.
What's her not title at McKinsey?
She's a board member of McKinsey.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, that's.
And
She's good at doing mine.
and as regular, we have Jess.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I so moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. And the financial report, do we still have money in that account?
We do.
We're getting bigger?
Point of order, we gotta vote.
I forgot the land acknowledgement. The land acknowledgement, yeah.
Oh,
Wait a minute. We acknowledge it, I'll make a motion.
okay. We're gonna move on.
Okay, but you did have a motion and a second, but no vote.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we're at the financial report. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I so moved.
Second? Okay, let's give her some questions.
Good.
Make them hard.
I did add to the report a little bit this
How come
time.
it went down from 7% to 6.9%?
As we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, our projections get tighter and tighter, so I think.
You were just stringing us
I
along.
know. I don't think it'll move a whole lot between now and the end of the year, but it's just little pieces here.
We still
I
have
noticed
our
the
audit.
The audit is complete and it's finished. I believe we're in the process of scheduling an audit committee meeting. So that the audit committee can meet with our auditors. And then once that's done, we'll bring the audit report to the next.
You were saying there's a new section, is it the part about the investment account balances?
Yeah, so I added a couple of additional things to the written report, just to, since the board does have the legal responsibility of making appropriations. I'm just trying to give you more regular updates on where we're at with our appropriations, making sure you have information about our cash and investment balances. That's really just to give you assurance that we have the cash flow we need to pay our bills and make payroll. Just kind of making sure we're giving you all those key pieces of information to know that we're on track. There's been a lot of emphasis in the last few months with districts and school boards and making sure that boards are well informed of the financial situations of their districts and improving some of our reporting and transparency efforts with that regard.
So question, on your annual debt bonds payable, it says we paid $83,000 out of an $833,000 debt. It doesn't seem likely that we're gonna pay over $800,000 or $700,000 off in 2 months.
Yeah, it's because our principal and interest payments are structured so that on December 31st, we only make interest payments. And on June 30th, we're making principal and interest payments. So we pay interest twice a year, but we only pay principal once a year on June 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the money to pay that then.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're going to declare a budget committee vacancy in position 2, which is Eugene, position 3, which is Springfield, position 4, which is Blatchley, and position 5, which is Lowell. Tony?
Yes, we declare those, and then you'll see that we also have some budget committee members who have requested to serve. That would be the next item. So I guess right now declaring the vacancy, then we have some names, some folks who may fill some of these places.
May I ask a question? Does each component district have a seat on the budget committee? How is it decided, like, you've got the one from Blatchley, how is that decided that
It's based on
Blatchley
zones.
has?
The size of the district.
It's representative of the 5 zones and then 2 at-large positions. It's representative of the 5 zones plus 2 at-large.
Okay.
You mean,
So like ours?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
okay, but Blatchley's not a,
It's charter.
The position 4 is not for Blatchley School District, it's just occupied by somebody from Blatchley School District.
Oh,
Yeah, that's, the names of the zones or the people who served in those last. And
Oh.
when the next item comes up, we'll talk about who might be asked to be part of that.
okay.
So I move to declare the vacancies in position 3 through 5.
Okay, second,
I second it.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we're gonna appoint a budget committee member, and we have Dwayne Kuhn from Blatchley. Is that the one we have?
Dwight Kuhn from Blatchley is interested, and so,
Dwight.
yeah, Dwight, yes, and from 4J, we've got Jenny Jonak, the chair of the 4J School Board, and Tom DiLiberto, who expressed interest in joining our budget committee.
They both
Choose
did?
Jenny.
Yes.
I can't believe this chair's got time to be on our budget.
Take her, she's super smart.
Do I
Yes,
hear a
it was
motion
fun.
to approve those appointments?
I move to approve those reappointments as designated.
Do we gotta select one for 4J, because there's 2.
One would be an at-large
Yes.
position.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One would be an at-large.
A second?
I
Any
second it.
further discussion? I'm excited about people stepping up. I think. it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, is there any reason, any reason that another district would
Yeah,
be excluded? You know, don't want to double up in Eugene if there's another district interested, but, was there, I think, Tony, you communicated already, you know, and so people who expressed interest have been brought forward.
So far, yeah, the people who've expressed interest have been brought forward. And it's, I will say it's not unusual to have 2 from larger district, I think that's happened before. With, again, one being the zone, one being that large, but that's not abnormal. I think even the last budget, we did that.
So no one from Springfield.
This point.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You want to read the classified duration plan?
I would be pleased to read it. So this week, which we're in the second day of it already, March 3rd through the 7th is the official classified employee appreciation week. And the resolution that's here in the board packet, and we're glad to read. This is celebrated every year in the first full week of March. The Board of Directors of Land Education Services recognize the contribution of its classified employees. Whereas the education of youth is essential to the future of our community, state, country, and world. And whereas the classified employees are the backbone of our public education system. And whereas classified employees work directly with students, educators, parents, volunteers, business partners, and community members. And whereas classified employees support the smooth operation of offices, the safety and maintenance of buildings and property, and the safe transportation, healthy nutrition, and direct instruction of students. And whereas our community depends upon and trusts classified employees to serve students. And whereas classified employees with their diverse talents and true dedication nurture students throughout their school years. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lane ESD Board of Directors proclaim this week, March 3rd through 7th, 2025, to be Classified Employee Appreciation Week. And be it further resolved that the Lane Education Service District Board of Directors strongly encourages all members of our community to join this observance, recognizing the dedication and hard work.
Classified is very, very much appreciated. They work so hard. Are we planning special for them?
So our special ed staff is planning some things, and we're also planning some things agency-wide for the rest of this week. One of the things I want to note with our agency is we have a very large number of classified employees. Typically, our classrooms have a licensed teacher, and instead of like one instructional assistant, we have 6 to 8, let's say, 5 to 8 instructional assistants, depending upon the classroom and the makeup of most students. So we've got folks who are doing very crucial jobs on working directly with students and actually being part of, not just assessing them with, let's say, their education. But we talk about assisting them with certain really important safety features that the students need through the day. So extremely valuable our classified employees. I just want to make sure that it's noted that we have probably the ESDs with the classrooms we service have a bigger proportion of
Right.
folks with
Yeah.
very big hearts and very great skills.
Hard job. So do I hear a motion to approve classified employee appreciation week?
So move.
Second. Okay, any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Now we're going to declare Women in History Month, Tony.
Oh, let me read.
Huh?
Oh, let me read.
Let someone read it.
No, Go ahead, Rose, read it.
I've deferred a bunch. I'm just gonna go to the whereases.
Right.
Whereas March is National Women's History Month and National Women's History Alliance has designated the theme for Women's History Month 2020, I think 2025, as Women Who Advocate for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And whereas this theme recognizes the invaluable contributions of women who have dedicated themselves to advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion in all aspects of society. And whereas women from diverse backgrounds have long been at the forefront of efforts to address systemic inequities and promote a more inclusive and just society. And whereas the courageous advocacy of women for practical goals such as equity, diversity, and inclusion serves as a beacon of inspiration for all individuals and communities. And whereas in 2025, we honor the women who have tirelessly worked to dismantle barriers, challenge prejudices, and create opportunities for all individuals, regardless of their background, and attacks against diversity, equity, and inclusions program and training in our institutions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Lane Education Service District do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Women's History Month in Lane County, and be it further resolved that we encourage our communities and organizations to celebrate the achievements of women who have championed equity, diversity, and inclusion, and reaffirm our commitment to advancing these principles in society. Let us honor the women who have dedicated themselves to advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion, and let us continue to work together to build a more just, equitable, and inclusive world.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rose.
So do I hear a motion to adopt?
I move that we adopt the Women's History Declaration.
Second? Okay. Well, I think this board kind of exemplifies what they're talking about.
I think that we are, however, violating the dear board letter. I think we should just all acknowledge we're violating it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so again, we have some board members that are stepping up to join us. From McKinsey, we have Dana Bronwell, and Robin is here. And also, what was the Eugene person?
So Erica Thesson from the Eugene School Board, and I'll explain this in a minute. And then also Robin Zacchaeus. Did you already say that? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So the way that our administrative regulation was written is that we would like a representative from one of our region's smaller boards, one of our region's middle-sized boards, and one of our region's larger boards. And Mike Anderson, who's not here tonight, who's been the middle district representative for a while. Dan has stepped up representing McKenzie in small districts. Robin representing our larger districts from Bethel. And then Erica also had sent an email, I think it was around February 11th. So we heard from Robin first. We heard from Erica later. And the email from Erica had dropped off my radar. And I apologize for not catching that. So we have two large district representatives. Sherry and I talked a little bit before, and what we were thinking, and this would be the board's discretion, but the idea would be to have two large representatives for the remainder of this year. We're doing this in the middle of the year, and then as we start a new year, we would consider like, who might be the largest district representative, and see if Mike wants to continue as mid or not, and see if Dana wants to continue as small district. One of the things that the AR mentioned was that prior to this version of the AR, we didn't have any term limits or any term expectations. And so we talked, I think, and deliberated a few meetings ago about whether we wanted to see if we would get more representation. One of the things I believe we were concerned about, at least I was concerned about, is whether we would have folks who would want to do this and come to our meetings. We didn't always have as strong as attendance as we had hoped. And we hope by actually maybe having some kind of term, or at least a suggested term, that might bring more folks out. I'm pleased that we have at this time 3 new people, one part of our meetings, and appreciate that Robin and Dana are both there. I was able to communicate via phone message to Robin and Dana and talk to the phone a little bit.
So this appointment will be to July 1st of this year.
That's what I would say. I think that would be the.
Yeah. So to hear a motion to approve our 3 new advisors.
Was there, just a question, it only lists 2 in my agenda, so.
No.
There's a
Erica.
third one.
So Erica, that's.
So she's not in the agenda.
I'm adding her
So
verbally.
the, okay, so the additional.
That was my
detail.
oversight.
Okay, so I move to appoint the 3 people, adding Erica Thesson, with my appreciation, to our component district board liaisons.
Okay, a second?
I second it.
And again, we're just very pleased to have everyone step up and help us.
Don't forget to vote.
And it'll be fun when you go through these policies with us. We might lose you. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay. H, approved policy recommendation.
Okay, so as we are going through our desktop rewrite, we are kind of encountering each section for each month. We took a small one last month, which is really section A, B, but we divided section A off of that. And so looking at policies in section A, we had noted as a first read that we wanted to adopt the changes that were made to ACA, the Americans with Disability Act, and also to bring us into the latest compliance with ACB, every student, all students belong policy. So those policies are in the board book, and it's the second read for those.
I move we adopt policies ACA and ACD.
Second,
Second.
further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, congratulations, you've successfully gone through the smallest section A. Which you get to. And good one. And then later on, we'll have a first read for section B.
Courtney, just, sorry, I should have brought this up earlier, but, on agenda review, we have an item that I think is not a discussion item, but is a voting item under, number 9. Oh, wait, it goes from 8 to 10. Did it change? Oh, it changed. Okay, sorry. Nope, sorry, it's been updated. Never mind. My apologies. Oh, no, it's actually, it is there. So step number 8D, it's listed as a discussion item, but, shouldn't that be a
board? Should be an
vote?
action item.
Oh,
Item 8D.
yes, and we probably should have moved that when we did our agenda review. Because you'll have discussion on that, and we wanted the action. Okay, so I guess it's the board.
We should move that up, and then should we also remove 8E, since we're not doing superintendent evaluation right now?
Again.
Yeah.
Well, we may talk about it. It's just a
Yeah,
discussion
so-
item.
Okay.
Yeah, you-
So catch me up.
So I just think that, if we wanted to vote, all on the things that require voting, that we should talk about item 8D and just move it up to 7. Move it up to 7H, which, or no, 7I, which doesn't exist, but so.
Is 8D the statement of support? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Oh,
because we have to vote on it, so and
Oh.
we can discuss it, but
okay.
all the other things I think are just.
So if we go to 8D,
Yeah.
that's our statement of support that Rose wrote for us, and thank you very much, Rose, for doing that.
You wrote this statement of support for Eugene 4J lawsuit, Sally? To support.
I drafted I would like to make a motion that we adopt a statement of support of 4J school districts joining up the lawsuit. And it's written on the agenda here. So yes, I drafted it for the board to consider.
So we didn't have a discussion to have that draft. We didn't have a discussion. Did we have a discussion that maybe we should consider supporting 4J, or is this something you took upon your own?
This is the time to have a discussion. And then,
But no, I know this is the time to have a discussion. I'm just asking.
No, she.
No one else was.
Yep.
So there was a request made, there was a request made, there's a request made from Rose that came to board chair and vice chair and myself last week, I want to say. So that was the asking to be content.
Oh, I thought she was asking to write this. This is not just on the agenda, Adam. This is something written. I thought we were just gonna put on the letter she's already written.
Yeah, she hasn't published it anywhere.
I know, but usually when we're gonna write a letter or something, like, I don't wanna go back too far, when we got the Bethel School District letter, we come into as a whole that to have the discussion to support 4J's joining the lawsuit, but she's already wrote it.
we don't
Which
have
is
to
a very
adopt it.
good thing. It gives us something concrete to vote for or against. So it's a really good thing and we should.
I think what
appreciate
Linda
it.
is saying, first of all, we need to vote, are we gonna support it? And then go into the letter. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it should be come to us that we have the discussion to write a letter to support, not get a letter already written. That's what I'm asking. I mean, I agree she's already wrote it, but it usually come, I don't like inconsistency is what I'm saying, because we are bored. As
Well,
a whole.
I just did it as a service, but we can totally rewrite it. I just.
No, I'm not saying, that's not the point to rewrite. The point is it never came to the board to have a discussion for you to write and then bring back to the board for the board to vote
But I don't
on.
think there's any rule that says we has to break it into two pieces. We just normally do as a practical matter.
Yes,
This
you're
all
right.
came out
Yes,
in this
yes.
case.
There's no rule that we have to come to common grounds and vote on things and either, right?
But Rose, you sent this
I just sent it to you.
to Julie to put in the agenda.
Yes, after offering to do so over the weekend, I saw that it had been listed on the agenda, so I provided a draft. But honestly, I didn't know if I said things right, or if our administrative staff might have better ways to communicate my intent, so I just wrote it in plain language.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
We'll just
I
follow the
move
first draft.
that the board, create a statement in support of the 4J school district joining the litigation.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now discussion.
Discussion is in the future, I would hope that when we are trying to come to write a letter as a whole from the board, that is brought to the board, we vote on, yes, we should support 4J. And then we write the letter and it comes back like it has been in the past. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with her letter, I'm saying I didn't know this was something coming to the board. And yes, she has invested her time and wrote the letter, which is good, but that's not the common practice. Right.
And we live in uncommon times right now.
I don't know what
When
is it.
things are moving very quickly. So
Yeah.
we had to come today and discuss whether we're gonna do this and then have another letter in a month. I think it might not be very timely. So that's what I'm observing, that, I don't even know whether I'm just talking out of my hat, but I'm assuming that Rose saw a need and moved in on it.
So all those in favor of supporting this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we can discuss the letter written.
Yes. Can you give us, you want Rose to give us a little background on this?
I think we need to vote on it first.
Okay, that's fine.
I move we send the document offered by Rose, that we adopt that document as our statement of support.
With adjustments that we need to make some.
With adjustments to be made.
Okay, second?
I second.
Okay, now discussion of the letter that has been submitted to our board that will go to 4J to support them.
I could tell you what I was thinking briefly and why
Yeah.
I chose what I
please.
did.
Uh-huh.
And then if, I'm totally am open to revisions or additions, subtractions. And it was just a matter of being timely, not trying to skip ahead on anyone. So I just wanted to write something in plain language that acknowledged the move that our component school district made, being the first school district to sign on to a lawsuit. And I'm not sure if I got all the legal language correct, but there was a dear colleague letter that was sent and received on February 14th by many of our school districts in Oregon and I believe across the country, citing a radical departure from our understanding of what the word discrimination meant and racial and discrimination. And in my interpretation of that policy, what and concern was that and then the lawsuit as outlined, that the vagueness could possibly undermine everything from curriculum to affinity groups to hiring practices to things that are encompass every aspect of our work, and it would essentially be impossible to follow. So on hearing about the school districts move to challenge this lawsuit in partnership with the American Federation of Teachers, American Sociological Association, and apparently many others that Eugene School 4J was the first school district to sign on. And then I went on, so I described the situation, and then I went on to explain some of the values that I believe we hold in common about our responsibility to serve our students and to have curricula that reflect the diversity of their experiences and their families. And then I mentioned the federal guidance contradicting our strategic plan, centering on creating a beloved community of learners, and also undermines our state educational standards and mandates set by the Board of Education and Oregon revised statutes, things like tribal history, shared history, was like specifically like we're required, you know.
That one would be excluded because that's not an issue of race.
Also the possibility of having any kind of affinity groups, of making any kind of extra effort to recruit teachers of color or teachers that have shared language capacity. Teachers who have more than English language ability. There was such a wide range of practices that that are common in Oregon that it seemed impossible to follow this letter. So I wanted to offer some support to our component school district for taking that step, and so they wouldn't be alone, and that their board members would know that they had our support. Short story long.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All those that support the letter as recommended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you so much, Rose, for doing that.
Where would we, I guess I wanted to ask about putting something else in here or adding. And where, I said that a minute ago. Yeah, I'm sorry. I started this, okay. So never mind. Maybe I'll just tell Rose.
Well, I thought we was visiting the letter anyways, to add if we wanted to add stuff to it. I don't think it's too late.
Can I move to amend the letter?
Okay,
Okay.
second,
Well, no, you have to say what the amendment is.
The amendment would, in your explanation, you explained a little bit about the dear colleague, and I would like to have that, a little short explanation of the dear colleague letter. How it would affect our schools. Because of the rate, you don't mention, I don't see race mentioned.
I don't
in
think,
there.
well,
she's
I
trying to-
disagree with that. I don't think you want to do anything real specific. I think
Okay.
that this is hit, I think this has hit a really good tone between
Okay.
specific and generalities.
Okay.
I was trying not to put us on the radar for any further
Right.
harassment or scrutiny, no, that wasn't
Okay.
necessary, we're not out of step with common practice in Oregon.
Right. So there we
Did
go. Okay, thank
you
you.
guys see what Woodburn voted against? Because their fear was
Yeah.
federal funding would be withdrawn from them if they did.
Well, if they take away Eugene's money, it'll take away our money anyway,
Yeah.
so, you know, we're in the boat anyhow.
They weren't voting about supporting OJ, they
No,
were
no,
voting
They were,
to comply with the.
yes, they
their
were,
college,
yeah,
yeah.
they were. Okay. All those in favor of the letter as written, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay. Thank you again, Rose, for doing that.
Yes.
Appreciate that very much.
You did a great job.
So because of time, we have a lot of policies to go through. The superintendent evaluation is going to be next month. Okay, now we're going to go through the policies. Is that correct? No, you need to
No,
talk, you need to talk about other stuff.
You have a legislative update, superintendent.
Just first reads on policies.
Yes. So for the legislative update, just a couple things. One, an issue that's been a big one with, let's say, ESDs that run their own EIECS programs, and also those like us who run a regional inclusive service program. The money we get for those programs to run them often comes to us, would you say, Olivia, January, February? We run them starting in July, and we get the money like halfway through.
Yeah, we have two programs that we still don't have agreements for the current year. Our juvenile detention education program and the state hospital education program, we still are awaiting 24 to 25 grant agreements for.
So we front the money on those, and our ESD partners are in the same situation.
Who are these contracts with?
Is that with your Oregon Department of Education?
So it's the OED.
OED, yeah.
The OED.
Yeah. And so one of the big, and some of our districts that run their own EI, we contract our early intervention, early childhood special education to the University of Oregon, much bigger institution. And so if they've got to front some money, we're not really hearing them whine about it. But other ESDs, like Northwest Regional ESD or Mountain ESD, are getting to the point where they're having trouble making payroll. They're running so much money waiting for the state to pay. We'd be in the same boat if we were running our own EIECS program. So it's a big deal for ESDs. It's something that our lobbyist Boyd Satterfield's working on, and we're really trying to get traction with the legislation on this that would actually maybe provide some disbursements. But like, we don't need all the money up front, but we could use some of the money in terms of maybe state contracted money that we get, or federal money we get first, just to be able to float ESDs, so we're not having to continue to have the state borrow money. So that's one of the items that we think we're getting some traction on. Pay attention to that. In addition, I want to keep in front of us the special education funding bills that are out there. Noting that when I mentioned EIECSE, we are asking for 432.8 million, and our regional inclusive services asking for 122 million to be able to adequately operate. There's still a weekly legislative committee meeting for OEESD. Sherry and I attend Thursday afternoons. So we'll be providing more updates as things come from Lori and from that committee. Any questions or comments about legislative side? We'll get some of that on the governance council too, Rose.
No, I mean, you're as up to date as I am.
Okay. Superintendent report, I do want
I
to,
said, Sherry's actually on the list.
Sherry, yeah, she is. I just,
Okay, I was like, wait a minute, I don't do that anymore.
no, because governance council will still
Yes.
get some of that information.
Yes.
As far as the superintendent's report, one of the things I wanted to make sure the board is aware of, and that is we're going to need a change in venue or change in site for one of our programs we operate. We do have the intense service program on the Fox Hollow campus. You heard about that earlier today. And that property is owned by Eugene Forge, and their programs that exist there, that coexist with our program there, are growing. And so Eugene Forge is looking to take that whole campus, which means that our ISP program needs to be relocated. We're talking probably, and so therefore the Eugene 4J students who are in that program, I think there are 4 of them. Eugene 4J will serve them on that campus. But the other students that we serve from other districts will need to do that in another location. I think we're talking probably 5 to 6 students at another location. So to that end, we're exploring what that other location might look like. And our special ed team is out looking. We actually had a tour today of a site on the Surbu campus. We invited some of our special ed directors to join that. It's something we also will be sharing with parents. It's a little unusual that we are looking at, let's say, the site where our juvenile detention center is for a special education program. However, there are 3 big pods there, and only a tiny part of one of them is where there actually is any detention. So the county is really trying to turn this into more of a youth services model. And to that end, they've got a pod right now on the far end where if this is the location you would choose, students would enter and exit right off of a bus loop and not have to go through any type of detention security. Well, so what the county's looking to do is try to really rename this as a youth. The youth services that are provided, detention is a very small part actually of the services that they are providing. And that's where they are trying to do that in a different way. It's a very safe spot for our students. It's actually much larger than the place we have at Fox Hollow. It has a full gym, access to a full wood floor gym. It also has access to an outdoor courtyard, access to an outdoor grass area space. The problem right now we run into at ISP on Fox Hollow is our students there tend to elope and oftentimes are over the fence and in neighbors' yards. And it's been a very big challenge for that program in that space. They are in a safer spot, but the big issue is the perception of where they're located. So we're working through that. We don't have a decision on that. I just want to let you know if you hear from our.
You don't feel like you're locking them down?
I feel like the optics.
So that's a really important piece, and I want to make sure you're aware of the fact we're looking into it. We haven't made a decision, but part of the decision would come if we can actually make the kind of outside entry area look more like a school. We walk through different pods today, and the pod that they're looking to give us is packed with storage stuff. But the pod just before that is actually an adult training center for their adult staff. And it looks, when you're in there, it looks like a very welcoming, comfortable space with artwork and there's just classrooms, there's a kitchen. The outside, I know they're taking some trees down out there because they want more parking for the football stadium.
That's not good.
And we talked about signage and other things. So this was just an initial tour, initial discussion. But you guys are hitting on what is the.
So
As far as having secure space, that is an issue too. We need safe, secure space. This is safe, secure space, but it has a reputation or perception.
Well, and if they do elope from that site, it's a lot more dangerous than South Eugene neighborhoods.
what is, just a little bit of clarification, 4J have some money to buy what?
Oh, I didn't know if I mentioned they had money to buy anything.
I'm
I'm saying their program,
They're buying,
the programs in the Fox Hollow campus, they run other programs.
okay,
But it's their building.
It's their building,
their building,
yeah,
so
and
they
we've been
just
using.
taking it over,
They're
Okay.
expanding.
in the Fox Hollow. Okay,
Well, is this, I mean, is it the only option?
Right now, it's the one in front of us. We're still seeing if there are others. I don't know if there are others now. But we're exploring.
And so
It's March. We need to make it.
Right, no, I get you, it's just, you know, the students are not meant to be in a lockdown facility, and they're not, correct?
Correct.
And it wouldn't be locked down.
It would be like, this particular pod doesn't have to be locked. The facility still needs to be locked in the hallway and other areas. Our students wouldn't access that, so they would be locked. They would not get into the hallway. They would have the door coming in that goes inside. There is a gate that surrounds the pod, and that's the gate that is far higher than the gate that currently exists at Fox Hollow. And students would not have access to get outside that gate, but they'd have more access and bigger space inside of the area. So yes, there's the actual
Would there be
lockdown.
like-
But currently, with the space we have at Fox Hollow currently is actually smaller, so I guess the economy here is that it's a more secure space that does have a gate outside. Once they'd be inside the gate, they wouldn't be able to leave and roam outside the gate. But the gate has grass area inside of it, has a gym that's accessible inside, has a courtyard space inside, and has a far larger space with a kitchen, kind of what I say, kind of like an apartment type spot. It's got a beautiful classroom. It's got some sensory spaces that can be added. So
this is a possibility that we're looking at, but we're also further exploring.
yeah, we also our special ed directors have been invited also to take a look, and there are 5 or 6 parents or guardians that will also be.
Is there any way to ask the kids?
Don't know that you're gonna get the answer until they get a chance to be in it and see what. Right now, if you ask anybody with the stores on the inside, like, but if you saw the pod next to it and saw what the possibilities could be, then it might be.
Did the pods, are those the ones that have the sleeping units in it too?
Yeah.
I just feel like it screams, school to prison pipeline, like,
Yeah.
here you go. And I realize all the positive benefits for it, but I think optically it's good.
Well, and I know that the staff and, I mean, you know, it's not the juvie of the days of old, but it still is, you know, I mean, and there's that, you know.
So that
association.
negative feeling,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
that
I
warm
mean,
and fuzzy and.
Now,
Even-
the
even
county
though-
has
yeah.
DDS next door.
Yeah.
The DDS services.
that's
big
a
building
benefit.
next door.
There's
right,
that,
it is right next door.
that's and I have not talked
What
yet
is right
with
next
Greg
door?
Rickoff of the county, but
Oh, yeah.
we're looking to have the conversation, because what we do know from Patty Robbins has been communicating with our special ed director. They really are trying to create more of a youth service feel.
Yeah.
And like Looking Glass has a spot there, Phoenix program, which is a kind of a rehab program that's not the recovery program that students are in. So those services and in our MLK classrooms, which are voluntary and not.
They're all
not detention,
adjudicated youth.
not necessarily them, but at MLK, they can choose, they can choose to be either school back in their own place or at MLK. There's still that detention though that we,
Oh.
that's still, but that's becoming a smaller part of that. And. I think
So we got money to rent it, would they rent, they'll rent it to us,
So
right?
that's the other, they would be charging rent for the space. I don't know what that would be.
We pay rent for Fox Hollow.
I think they allow us to use that just in time. So there would be an added charge to the students.
What's the transportation to Fox Hollow, school bus?
Yeah, the students that would come by school bus, and
And that would be the same, this one?
they would come by school bus. Probably more accessible.
it seems like if there's any way we can tap our youth voice specialists to provide that perspective in any way would be, I don't know that that's possible, but
What kind of specialist?
our youth voice, I mean, just one, just the one, but you know, but you know, just through their networks, I don't know if that's even possible, but.
Yeah, we can check. I don't know either. We can look into that. I think it's important to hear the voice of the other special ed directors and the students. I mean, we're talking a small number of students, probably easy to contact parents to let them know our thoughts. See what-
I worry about parents that already have an aversion or have had their own negative experiences at school, like it's not gonna be a welcoming place for the parents either. And
Typically, we don't
You don't see them.
campus very often. I guess having toured today, the one adult space, I would take anybody in there and show them and hear what there's still the idea that it's in the, I know what it is when I walk in there, so my mind's still kind of that way, but I don't know if after few days in there, because it looks very welcoming inside.
Could there be like a separate entrance?
There is a separate.
Like,
completely
okay, like a separate front door, so you're not, okay, at least you're not going through.
The front doors on the complete side that has it's not near the front security place.
This would also allow the option to serve students for a full day program, and because right now, students are only attending a half day program because of limitations with the existing site. And so most of the students in that program are there for 2.5 hours a day. This would allow us to
And
serve.
what are their ages?
They go from like, I think, second grade till transitions
Yeah.
age.
2.5 hours a day? And that's all the education they're getting for that day? And you ain't been sued again for loss of education?
No, but we get to.
Yeah, I mean, you, like ESD, because we have that loss
So-
of education, we're not in that bad position, are we?
No, and this would be, these are in line with the student science needs, but in
Okay.
terms of the ability to expand.
Okay.
And the space does, we do believe the space and the makeup of that space would limit staff exposure to injury, and it would also limit students' ability to injure themselves or others as well. The windows
So-
are higher up, the furniture
Mhm.
is not.
I come from a prison system, and this is a juvenile on the department, I come from adult parole probation, grade break off, I know that whole system. When you go, I know you're looking at safety for our students and our staff, but it is a lockdown facility. And I know we really do need safety for our kids, because I hear them running down the streets, running to Albertson, out of the classroom, down the street. But it's that climate and that environment. And I just can see feedback from public interest, folks like.
Eric, did you have something you wanted to add? Now that your mouth is full.
Without a location, we may not be able to serve these students, and that's one of the,
We saw the
sorry,
Finish what you're eating and then.
we need a space to serve our students. One of the, and there's always pros and cons to every setting. We 100% we're having the same feelings about, going to youth services, and some of the pros were the safety for the student versus the safety of traditional classroom and traditional school, and a lot of the disadvantages of that we've seen with staff harm and student harm. And so that's on the pro side. On the con side, obviously, is the perception. And that's why we wanted to talk to parents and to other folks and provide feedback.
Eric, we can't hear you.
Us two can't hear you.
Right. It was really good. What I was talking about is the pros and cons to any site. And at a traditional school, a traditional classroom, there are some negatives for the student population that we currently serve, where students are in situations where sometimes they harm themselves or teachers are harmed. This would provide a site, that would be the positive, is that it would probably be the safest type of spot for that population of student and servicing.
Wasn't that the flip side of it being
Right. So that's why
two
we're.
sides of the same coin.
Yeah, so that's why we wanted to ask other districts, and because their students would be going there, parents currently in the program, how would you feel about that? What would that impact be? What's your priority for your student in this situation? So that's all coming together, because without having the site at Fox Hollow means that we may not be able to serve the students, and then that's going to push the students back out to their home district, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for the host district to serve, but they've struggled with the ability to financially be able to afford to put all the services into a student in a rural district. And so what's going to happen there?
One for them space too.
Right, and so what type of safe space, can we get the staffing, will the student be served or not served, do they have to be home? So looking at a lot of different, it's a complex issue for sure, we don't have necessarily the best answer right now, but we're trying to investigate and learn, look at the pros and cons of that, and then try to be able to digest what will benefit the students, because we always keep that at the core, really think about the schools and families, and what will make the most sense for them with what we can offer. And it may not be the best place, but we definitely want to let you know, because we're at a spot where there are tours and information's coming out, it's important that you know, and you understand what our thinking is that we wanna exhaust every option, and even looking at options that may not be the best option might get us to a better place. So we wanna put it all on the table and see what our alternatives are.
Well, and we have to remember that we're required to the least restrictive environment. And so this would be the most restrictive, and I understand that it's the highest needs. But,
So
or what's your answer to that?
that's where you think, again, having been there and seeing it from the inside perspective, again, looking in that adult space, you would think it's the most restrictive, and that came up in our conversation, but yet there's far more space that these kids are able to roam around in that protected pod and outside the pod and in the gym. And right now, they're in small classrooms or smaller spaces. So there's actually more we can do there. There's also a kitchen there. There's potential for kind of some of those life skills things that they can learn. So
But
once
they
you're in
won't have
there.
access.
So-
to
so-
that
but-
typically developing peers.
But that's still the issue. I mean, you think, man, right away, yes, you gotta have the least restrictive environment. How could this be?
But we
It's got some improvements over where they are.
But we were being described this earlier, that each kid is in his or her own room. I mean, you're not gonna have these kids running around on the basketball court together. Unless they're very different kids,
Yeah, 8
ones
to
that we were just
23.
hearing about.
There'll be staff that'll be with them, but I'm saying there's more space for them to move around in and staff to actually have them do activities in than there is right now on Foxhole.
I don't know if this makes any difference, but it should also be aware that that's where the juvenile court is. It's not just juvenile detention,
It's
the whole juvenile court is there.
So we're just exploring this right now, and he's just giving us information.
Yeah.
And I'll keep
So
you
you'll
posted,
keep
because
us
it's a big.
informed.
What
Can
happened
we ask
to,
our component district board members that are here if they have any comments?
Clear Lake? Huh?
I was just gonna say if
Didn't
our,
we have
if
a
our,
school out in Clear Lake that closed? We can come to it. Let me
I think there's a
ask
use
this
for it.
question, right?
I think you already have use for it, isn't it?
Well, we're Fairlake Elementary School, which is just on the other side of, Barger on the other side of Beltline, this is its last school year, and the elementary school will be opening up next year as a community center where we will have, we'll have like the Y will be in there doing some stuff, ideally the Y, can't think what they're called, Boys and Girls Club, activities like that will be happening before and after school, ideally in some other groups. At first I thought, well, maybe this would be a good spot, but we had two life skills classrooms in there, and some of our students would elope. And it is right on a very busy road, so that was one of the big safety concerns, which was one of the reasons why that was the school we chose to close, because of the safety concerns with the traffic in that area. So that would also be a concern, but you could talk to our superintendent, because there are like 24 classrooms in that building.
It will- Dana, there is a student from Mackenzie that is part of this program. So so this would be something that it would be with your students that is now on the Foxhole.
So you have some input, some comments?
You're muted. Unmute.
She's muted, she needs to
Unmute.
We
Can you
can't. Unmute.
Oh, there you go.
Now we can.
Now we can. Okay.
I don't really have anything to add, but I do agree the optics at next to Surrey could be problematic.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll keep you posted as we move forward, because we do have to find a location. A couple of things I'll add as far as my report. The OA ESD chair-elect is Jeffrey Crapper, who is, I don't know if you saw that, but he's been elected as the chair-elect. And a couple CTE related things. If you recall, our team here, CTE team, created what became Team Oregon Build in terms of the tiny homes that they were building and how that had spread throughout the rest of Oregon. Team Oregon Build received a national workforce program. So we also got recognition. So Lane County Lane County's efforts, it became Oregon's efforts that got national recognition. So, we'll see what our whole county. And then, our own, CTE coordinator, Shereen Vogel, was chosen as the Oregon ACTE administrator of the year. That was just announced, last week. So they'll be honoring her in Seaside in April. Oh, I know the good.
But we can't go, we don't have the money, so don't ask.
I think they're paying for her. They better be, she's like.
And she did a great
No,
job.
I'm talking about us go support her.
She did a great job on the bus tour, Tony, I'll just piggyback on that.
Okay.
I didn't write that up.
That's
It's
it.
very
We
fun.
went to one, yeah, we're gonna, ours got canceled, we're gonna try again,
March 13th,
March 13th.
Okay.
Are you going on that one too?
I have appointments.
Okay, so we're gonna go through policies B. Also, next month we'll do Cs. A, B, C.
So I didn't hand these out, I printed hard copies of B, it's in your board packet, but with this, there are kind of the recommended changes that the policy committee went through.
Not these ones that we had last,
They
that you
get
told
new
us to
ones.
say.
No,
These are brand new.
These should have some, recommended, decisions where there are brackets, I believe. So it's a first read tonight. But I will state that as part of the process, our policy committee spent several hours going over each one of these policies. And the recommendations that come from OSBA come sometimes with, choices to make between is this a may or is it a will? And so the policy committee walked through those, and what I just handed out there should be most of our recommended changes. And so I guess I would say this is a first read. And if you look at in Board Book 2, we are recommending the deletion of a few and adoption of some new ones. And I guess the homework might be to look and see if there are any questions before the next meeting. If we have any questions prior to the meeting, we can address them and we can pass it as a second read.
Yep,
I was just gonna say, I'm not gonna talk, you can read these yourself, but there is one on board operations that we found to be a surprise,
yeah.
which is that we have to meet in July.
We have to meet in June.
We have to meet in July, like we can't
Oh.
skip a July meeting when we're in August, it's in statute. And then you asked about that, and the response said, quoted, there was no answer, it just quoted the statute, which clearly said you have to meet in July. So when we
Skip
do-
August?
But we can,
We can skip August.
Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because we definitely pushed, because we were like, what, we don't need to meet in July, why meet in July,
Well, we haven't ever met.
which.
Oh, that's right, stop it.
But, so when we come to adopt our board calendar, that will be a factor, I presume.
Yeah.
So several, and this is true, I think several boards that may choose not to have a July meeting, it does say it. I think the intent still, I know she quoted the ORS, the intent still is that if you have new board members coming in, you want them to be able to participate in the decisions on your board leadership and on the other things that you are doing for the next year. And so I'm still gonna ask again, because the language we suggested to change to was that we would have the what do you call
First
it?
meeting of the fiscal
The
year.
first meeting of the fiscal year when this should take place.
I think
Which
the
means-
statutes.
You don't think we get the wordsmith that?
No.
Right, go ahead,
There is no ambiguity in this.
It's graven in stone.
I know, that was her answer, was just quote statute.
I
Um,
license to you too.
Yes, right, you did your own research.
You can just Google it these days.
A couple other things, though, I know that we worked with a couple really small things that should be in there. I'm looking at one of the bigger ones. Let's see, for example, BDDG, one of the questions that came up in BDDG was, are we required to post our minutes on our website? The answer I got is there's no requirement to post minutes, but it's the easiest way to make them available to the public. So the statute says make them available to the public. Otherwise, if they're not there, you're responding to everybody asking. So it doesn't say that, but it's kind of like this. And then I think we also talked about there was a requirement, not a requirement, but the policy said that it would be encouraged for new board members to attend the summer OSBA conference. And our committee thought, could we strike that? And we still could make a decision to send people according to the next policy, which is whichever letter comes after that. And the answer was fine, go ahead and strike. You don't have to encourage people to do some more times. You don't have to put in policy. Those are a couple of things that came out of policy that we changed. Anything else?
I think the idea was not to put things in policy that weren't actually the law, to give us the maximum amount of flexibility to carry on our work. So that was the intent.
So this is our first read. We will pass these policies in April.
So your homework is if you go through those and see any other questions, to bring them forward, send it to Julie to me by prior to the Friday of the week.
Oh, and then in April, we'll have a first read on C. So we're going to roll right through these guys.
And I've given C to the policy committee.
Right, I got it.
And then, I think what we decided is that after the policy review for first reading, we'd have a packet of that, instead of the whole. That's it.
Okay, rolling right along. We're at number 9, information from the administrative staff. So they have given us some written reports.
So you've written tech reports, school improvement report, special ed reports.
I have just a question about that. I saw that IT was talking about the recovery school. Is there more, has that been funded, or did we have a timeline on that?
I'm sorry, say it again.
The IT report talked about stuff for the recovery still. I was like, well, that's a bizarre place to see that, but it talked about the
Here's the update.
recovery high school planning has started. So I was just wondering where that was.
Yeah.
So we were looking for a location in coordination along with Friends of Lane County Recovery Schools. And Peace Health has a building that's in the downtown, where the old hospital is, the behavioral health building. It has an entire 3rd floor that they're looking to let somebody use that space. So we have a verbal from them that if we get a recovery school, we can put the recovery school on that 3rd floor of that space. It's got a good location close to the U of O, where we have some connections, I think, with some prevention folks there. What accessible by bus. The 3rd floor is kind of weird, but we have the entire floor. We probably don't need the entire floor. It's got office spaces, it's got small group meeting spaces, it's got large, big open spaces. The rent looks good verbally, $1 a month, just as a nominal fee. And then we pay utilities and whatever other things. They're looking for somebody to hold the space.
Is that a joke?
No, that's
$1 a month?
yeah.
Oh, okay, the write-off, they get the write-off.
Utilities could be high.
Yeah, couple of issues though with the recovery school grant. It's right now, the word is that it's at the DOJ, Department of Justice, awaiting approval. And so that's still going to take weeks before they release the grant. When the grant is released, we don't know if they will fund one grantee, 2 or 3. The legislation that passed last session said they could fund up to 3 schools per cycle, I guess, or per biennium. And the governor's budget had enough money for 1 school. There's a bill also in the legislature now that says OHA will contribute money to run the school. And to me, that makes sense. It's an educational program, and it's also a student recovery program, students who are recovering from abuse disorder. And so, or substance abuse disorder. So it makes sense that there'd be some OHA money. That could possibly lead to more than 1. But right now, it's possible that there are 4 different educational entities in the state that would be applying for this one grant.
Well, if we don't get,
It would
can
be
we put
wonderful.
the Fox Hollow campus over there, or is that a non-starter?
Wait, I'm sorry. What's that?
I was just saying, if we don't get the recovery school in there, can we put the Fox Hollow campus in there?
No, I can ask.
No, it's a space.
Yeah.
They're gonna fund 1 or 3.
So the governor's budget only has funding for 1. The final budget comes out of the legislature, and there's a bill there that talks about extra funding from the Oregon Health Authority too. Because right now it's all OE money. So more to come on that later, Rosa. That's the update.
Thank you.
Good question.
I read that all the reports.
We did a new
That's right.
Okay,
Next is 10, board member reports and comments.
I have one short comment.
okay.
If anyone did not, watch or participate in the, program that the, State Department offered about the new meetings rules.
Oh, the ethics requirement.
Huh?
Yeah.
I did, and I found it very helpful, and even though I understand that Sherry thinks that it's a good idea to, do this as a group in the fall, I learned some stuff that I'm glad I know now, so if you have the time and the inclination, I recommend it.
Is it available? I only saw the one offer.
Yeah.
I
saw
think it's gonna be
sexual
on the, I think
misconduct
it's
one.
gonna be on the web.
Okay,
Okay, so
This
you
is
can,
through
We're
OSBA.
gonna do it as a team.
well, I can wait or not, but thank you for that.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, it's Linda's question. I think the board, if I remember, you guys wanted to wait for, like, when we get the new board and do it.
No, we thought we would do it now, so,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I just think it's useful, I mean, it's in effect now. And there's some stuff, the most important stuff is definitions of what are meetings, which some of them were, I was sort of surprised by. All these things that I thought were meetings aren't. Which is good,
How long is it?
huh?
How long is it?
About an hour.
Yeah, then the sexual misconduct abuses, an hour and a half. And it's on
We
there
need to
too.
do that.
That's mandatory, yeah. You could, it's a webinar, you just register and that's it on it. Spencer does it, Spencer.
Yeah.
and Haley does it, and then one other person.
Okay, anything else? Okay,
Unfortunately, they plays unfortunately.
yeah.
What did you do this whole time?
Yeah, I do prepare a report, so.
Just tell us how it's going.
Yeah, so about the school district, we, actually our last board meeting, we had a really nice report from our two high schools about our graduation rates, which were, nice. We're actually very proud of our high schools, both Willamette High School is a nice comprehensive high school, and Kalapuya does amazing things for students that are succeeding at Willamette High School, so they work really well together, and as such, our graduation rates continue to be very high for the state, so we're very happy for that. We just hosted last Friday Black Inclusive at Willamette High School, which is an event that celebrates the unique accomplishments and culture of our Black students of Bethel. That was really nice. We had the Uable Gospel Choir come and perform. We had some students come and perform a poem. They showed some art. There was some dancing. There was food, of course. So it's a good event. What else have we done recently? Middle school basketball just wrapped up, and we'll be starting our middle school track sports in April, so that will be fun. We really leaned into middle school sports this year in an attempt to get our middle schools students to have a higher sense of belonging. High school sports are doing pretty well as well. I should say something about that, but I don't have any details. That's pretty much what's going on, being ready for. I know they're forecasting at the high school for next year for classes. Our CTE classes continue to be very popular as well as our IB programs. So what's happening in that whole thing?
Thank you very much. Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Is McKinsey, are we still there? Let's see.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's okay.
There you are. There.
Hi. It's kind of last minute joining this today, so I don't have much of a report for you. I'm excited to be a part of this now though, and learn more about the ESD and what an important time to be in public education. So I'm happy to be involved. Mackenzie, I'm on the school board, but I'm also a parent of 1% of our enrollment. We are trying to hit that. Time is just flying by. We also just finished up the basketball season, started track. We have a lot of participation, which is important because every kid is needed to make a full team pretty much. Our numbers are so small, but they've been playing well and really having good team energy. So that's great for the school, that participation. We had to close a day in January because so many people were sick. And then again for weather. So, but we're nothing if not resilient out here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad you're here with us. Sydney, do
Thank
you
you.
have anything? What's the weather like there, Sydney?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's it.
Found somebody with the help of Vanessa to run in my place for the next term named Thomas. Now, I can't tell you his last name at the moment, but I've been talking to him and I think he'd be a very resilient and good board member. I think he's already planning to run and I saw him put up a poster and he's excited. So I think you'll see and hear from him soon.
Ayura, I believe.
What?
His last name's Ayura.
Good.
Rose brought him to you brought him to a meeting last year.
Okay, is there anything else? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.